in earlier moments of Marx booms, as I term them in my book, these moments when lots of Americans are reading Marx favorably, and there are three earlier moments, the Gilded Age, the 1930s, and the 1960s. There were large scale movements and organizations that drove the Marxist idea into the American political sphere, whether it's the Socialist Party of America in the early 20th century or the Communist Party of America in the 1930s, or Students for a Democratic Society and the various anti-war movements and various new left organizations such as the Black Panthers during the 1960s. Right now, I would not say that there is an organization or a particular union or party that has the numbers or force to drive home this message. But Democratic Socialists of America continues to grow. It has left its influence in the political sphere. And I think that Democratic Socialists of America is a Marxist party, a Democratic Socialist party of a Marxist party of the sort that its founder, Michael Harrington, envisioned. And that is a Marx that embraced reform as a way to increase the freedoms and increase the power of the working class, not necessarily a revolutionary Marxism. And so you're seeing Marx and Marxism take root to some degree in the Democratic Socialists of America. You're seeing podcasts and journals and Marxist reading groups popping up all over the country. So lots of people are really engaged with Marx and his ideas, perhaps more so than at any time since the 1960s or even the 1930s. I don't think it's necessarily take organizational form to the same degree yet, but I think it's starting to. And we can see this with the recent nomination of Zoran Mandani in New York City, who I believe has some Marxist ideas of his own, or his political sensibilities are shaped and informed by Marx and Marxism. Well, this one has some similarities to the first one during the Gilded Age and the second one during the 1930s, in particular, because those were moments in which capitalism was seen to be in crisis. And I think we're living in a similar moment now, at least since 2008 and the financial collapse. The rates of inequality are unprecedented in the US and in lots of Western nations. There are people, including Bernie Sanders, who are talking about an oligarchy that is ruled by the rich, ruled by the billionaires. There are some people who have more wealth and power than at any time in US history, perhaps human history. And so there's lots of similarities in terms of thinking about Marx and class struggle in relation to that with earlier moments. Somewhat different is that because we had the last 30 or 40 years of an academic Marx, the current Marxism has its academic or theoretical tendencies, but the difference is lots of people who were trained in Marxism in the universities recently have turned away from the more sort of abstract theoretical cultural Marxism because they themselves have been organizing for labor power in the universities and in the other cultural institutions. They're thinking much more about the labor power side of Marx that earlier Marx waves really thought about. So there's a kind of mix of the theoretical and the practical Marx in a very sort of praxis-oriented Marx right now.